And then he sent them to the diddler.
As a result of being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. I got it from him.
Being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So, yeah.
After months of growing speculation following Diddy's much-discussed September 17th arrest, the silence surrounding him is finally breaking. Those once tight-lipped are now stepping forward with their stories. What began as whispers has erupted into headline-making confessions. Jamie Foxx cracked the door open with subtle hints in his recent comedy special. Now Usher has come forward, revealing shocking details from his childhood encounters with the music mogul. As the drama escalates, yet another name is being pulled into the storm: Diddy's former close associate, the late pop sensation, Justin Bieber. The revelations are only just beginning.
Now being in this big city, I don't know nobody. I don't know my way around. I don't know the culture, what this place is. I don't even know what the word culture meant at the time. And it was hard. There were a lot of things I seen and a lot of positions that I think I was put in where I had to make very, very tough decisions in my life about who I would be. I was 13 years old, and being 13, having that type of exposure, it was cool to go to Howard Homecoming with Puff. It was great to be able to go to Club USA or the Supper Club, with Puffy in that time, or the Tunnel. But these are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be. Most kids will be excited about it. Most kids are trying to figure out, how to be around, hot girls, pretty girls. I'm around grown women, and I'm seeing them do things and have experiences that I'm not quite ready for. And I think that he was just trying to show me the lifestyle. However, that's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight. We would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you got to chill. Like, you just a little bit too intense. You got to relax. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, like banging on this man as though, I am the manager. I am the spokesperson for Usher. And I'm telling him, look, you're going to put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there. You got Craig Mack in there. You're going to make me a priority, too. I'm not here to party with you. I don't want to go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? I think as a kid, I realized, hey, look, that's not my ring. That's not my moment. That's not my bottle. That's not my drink. That's not my celebration. So I'm not here to celebrate. I wanted people to be excited about me the way that they were excited about him. I wanted my own success.
Did you hear? Justin Bieber actually turned down a chance to join Usher for the Super Bowl halftime show. But it wasn't just about timing or creative differences. The real story goes way deeper, all the way back to 2008 when Usher first introduced a young Justin to Diddy. Back then, Diddy was pulling every string he could, using all his industry influence to get close to the fast-rising teen sensation and solidify that connection.
Kids and girls, you think he's done these things too?
How many underage?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him. Maybe 20. Maybe 20 or more. What?
We're making up numbers at this point. I think when there's smoke, there's fire. They're going to find some stuff. I don't know the number. It could be 2. It could be 200.
When a kid goes, like, for example, you watch, did you see the Justin Bieber interview with this one guy he did where he's crying?
Yes.
I don't know. Did you see that?
He's talking about Haley, and he's like, he's bawling back because he doesn't want that to happen to her.
This is the one where he says he was living in shame.
If you find this clip, and he's interviewing this guy, and the guy, the way he's doing the interview makes him feel very comfortable. He's actually doing a great job.
I think I have it. This is it. Where he's actually talking about Billie Eilish, I believe.
Billie Eilish.
And that's when he starts.
Yeah, my bad.
I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing. And if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and
poor kid.
Yeah. So yeah, I just
you believe him? I believe him.
I just want to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Through anything that I went through.
Yeah, if she ever needs me,
can't even look at the camera.
I'm just a call away.
Okay. Let's play along with this and go through the sequencing together. Let's say everything we believe that happened, that Diddy did to him, when he says, I have him in custody for the next 48 hours. And we're doing some things that we can't really be talking about to everybody, right? And he's 15 years old. Okay. And then the next time Diddy runs into him, he says, hey, how come you haven't called me lately? You don't call me back. And he says, well, I've just been busy, but my number changed. I don't have your new number. You can tell Bieber is scared.
He's nervous.
And then it goes to a couple months ago when Diddy pulls up to Bieber, Rob. I don't know if you have this clip where he's touching his chest to see if he's wired or not. Patting him. He's going like this to if he's wired or not. And you can tell Bieber's looking down. He's trying to tell him. But you know how he's looking at him? He's looking at him as a defeated man, because here's a grown man in his 30s doing something to a 15-year-old boy. So then the question I ask is, how many people would he talk about this with? Like, look at this here. Look at this. That's not it.
Or this is a couple months ago.
Go ahead and do this. Look at it. Boom, boom.
Head down. Padding, making sure his chest doesn't have a wire. Yeah. So that's Florida, huh, Pat? I think that's Florida.
So, if this happens to someone's kid and you know about it, what do you do about it?
Meaning, if I knew that this happened, if
say Justin's your son, you find out this happened to your son, what do you do about it?
And it's a factual thing.
He tells you. What do you do about it?
Me, dead serious, I'm going to kill P. Diddy. Me personally, I'm going to go, what? I'm going to jail for the rest of my life. Adam, I'm going to jail for the rest of my life because I'm going to find him and I'm going to kill him with my bare hands.
The parents, where are they here? Why aren't the parents
the divorced parents? Adam,
divorced or not?
I get what you're saying, but hear me out. Your son has...
What's the price you're willing to pay for success?
But here's my thing.
There's a chance that if Justin Bieber...
right there. That's it right there.
If Justin Bieber doesn't go to Diddy's house and go to Diddy's flavor camp, there's a chance 15 years later, we never even hear of Justin Bieber. So now he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's one of the biggest music stars in the world. And we don't even know what happened to Diddy's place.
Usher discovered, hold on a second, Justin Bieber in Canada would sit there, play the guitar and sing in the middle of the street like those street performers, and Usher found him. And then Usher, it's almost like a grooming circle. Usher brings him
allegedly.
I said it's almost like a grooming session where he brings him back to the guy that allegedly...
The term buttering up circle has been gaining attention lately, and many trace its origins back to when Diddy signed 13-year-old Usher to his label. Usher quickly rose to fame and later became a mentor to Justin Bieber, introducing him as his protege. This mentorship gave Diddy direct access to Bieber, so close, in fact, that he reportedly spent 48 hours alone with the young star. Usher has since shared some unsettling details about those encounters, particularly about a bossy, so-called flavor camp Diddy allegedly hosted for teens at his residence.
Before he met Diddy, Usher was a kid who believed he was destined to be great.
I want to have a name for myself.
It was his dream.
If I don't believe it, nobody else would.
When he was only 13, the world started believing in his talent.
Young man is going places.
The next Michael Jackson.
But to become a star, he had to spend a year with a man he barely knew.
Man, I had a mother who was strict.
She's a big influence in your life, right?
Definitely. She's my manager, and I keep her with me everywhere I go.
How did you make sure that people didn't take advantage of him?
My mother used to tell me all the time, you need to stop telling people that you're going to be a big artist. I'm like, why? That's what I believe. That's what I think about myself. If I don't believe it, nobody else would. My mother was like, you're not going to be one of those people who just sitting around and sleeping on my couch. I said, don't worry about it. I'll be gone by 14.
And as he broke free from the control of his mother, Usher found a father figure.
Puff Daddy.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep your dream going, baby.
As a result of being around that man, I don't sleep to this day.
Oh, Puffy was there. I didn't know him. And he said, you're going to have to trust me.
Puff Daddy becomes the legal guardian of young singer Usher Raymond.
He's going to mentor you and show you the life. We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
I'm gone. I want to entertain.
Though Diddy was extremely controversial, he also gave Usher freedom he never had.
You know, a lot of our young brothers and sisters, there's nobody that's showing them and guiding them through the business.
But Usher was quickly thrown into a world he didn't understand.
You know, most kids will be excited about it. I'm around grown women, and I'm seeing them do things.
But although his new mentor was a talented producer, working with him came at a cost.
You can believe the hype. We banging, baby. As you see, it's female friendly. We showing the fuck off tonight.
You spent $1.5 million on this party?
I think they never been to a Diddy party.
Were you the only kid at Puffy Flavor Camp?
Diddy made Usher feel accepted.
You may not be able to rap, you may not be able to sing, but there's something else that you could do.
At the root of Usher's passion for music was a kid looking for his father.
There's nothing like a father's love. I suffered a long time making moves based off of the fact that I didn't have a dad.
And I was the kind of kid that, you know, always wanted the most attention, so I would go over and beyond to make sure that I got it, whether it was dancing, singing, and that actually just turned into my talent.
Usher would have to make a sacrifice if he was going to keep his dream alive.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, you know, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Uh-huh.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans, Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like, you know,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
There's an old clip making the rounds again. One where Diddy, seemingly under the influence, lets a few shocking details slip about his past with Usher. In the video, he casually mentions that they used to wake up together and even wrestled, tossing in a joke about arguing over Frosted Flakes. While the tone seemed playful, many believe there's a far deeper, more troubling story beneath the surface, one that went far beyond a typical mentor-protege relationship. Though Diddy and Usher may laugh about it today, the reality behind those memories is anything but harmless. Usher was just a kid at the time, and Diddy knew exactly how young he was. Despite that, wild parties and late-night escapades reportedly became the norm. The emotional and even physical toll from those years eventually landed Usher in the hospital, leaving behind wounds he's still working to heal from today.
That was around that, in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now, I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember, Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp. Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy camp?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows. The white guy with the curly hair. What's his name? The white guy with the curly hair. And he said, yo, would you send your son to Diddy camp? And Usher said, no. Ask him why he won't send him to Diddy camp. But yet and still you praise him.
Damn, man. And you said that, I know you can't go into detail, but you said that it was a situation where Diddy sent him to the hospital?
Let Usher explain that to you. Let Usher mama explain that to you. And the hospital was in Scarsdale, New York.
Even Jaguar Wright has spoken out about the disturbing buttering up circle. According to her, Usher, once the target of Diddy's attention, eventually took on a similar role himself by introducing Justin Bieber into that same troubling environment. Wright also shared her take on why Justin really turned down the chance to perform with Usher at the Super Bowl, hinting that the reasons run far deeper than the public knows. Here's what she revealed.
I'm tired of Usher. I wish somebody would come out and just like sue him. Like, we need Usher. No, we do. We need a victim to come out and be honest about him. Because what I'm realizing is that he's going to fake the funk until the victim. He's just going to keep on sucking the devil's. And I don't know, like with a baby, that pacifier, sometimes you got to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And take it away. Right? When the babies used to sucking on the pacifier. That motherfucker gonna keep sucking on that shit until you do what? Till you take it out the mouth. Now it's gonna scream and holler, but eventually it will get used to the fact that his mouth is no longer full with that object. And that it's time to just, learn how to live without it. He been sucking on Diddy's a long time. It's time for him to learn how to make this thing happen without the devil's in his mouth or ass.
You don't think if he sued, he'll just Lil Woody the situation? And I don't recall. I don't recall.
No, because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile on your face all the time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like, what kind of asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you no more? Because that's what do. They get victims, and then once they get to a certain age and they get too old for them to enjoy them, they send them out to go get other young kids. Now, if Usher is a procurer, and if Usher knew what was going to happen to any of those young children that he took to the Flavor Freak off, is he a good guy? Especially considering what happened to him, especially considering that he sat Howard Stern, and Howard Stern said, would you send your kids to Puffy's Flavor Camp? And his immediate response was, hell no! So it's good enough for everybody else's kids, but it's not good enough for yours. Yours are just good enough to die in Lake Lanier with no real investigation. Got it? Like, these aren't good people!
Oof, oof. All right, Jeff.
He's not good! He's a... And the simple fact that Justin Bieber literally made a public statement and said, Usher asked me to do the Super Bowl with him and I turned it down.
Oh, for his.
Why would he turn it down?
Justin Bieber narrowly escaped the grip of this toxic cycle, but not without enduring a heavy toll. The trauma he faced led him to substance use during his teenage years as a way to cope with the pain. The burden was overwhelming. Over time, Bieber has courageously opened up about those struggles, offering the world a raw, honest glimpse into his battle with the darker side of the music industry.
Being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing. And if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and, there was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything. And it was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world who experiment and do, just normal growing up things. But my experience was in front of cameras and I had a different level of exposure and people and I had a lot of money and a lot of things. So then you have all these people around me just kind of hanging on, wanting stuff from me, knowing that I was living this lifestyle that they also wanted to live.
Though Diddy now finds himself at the center of controversy, some believe he was once a victim of the same web he's now accused of spinning. Allegedly, his initiation into this strange and secretive world began with Clive Davis, a music industry titan whose name is often linked to murky rumors. It's said that Davis mentored Diddy early on, introducing him to a world where blurred lines and hidden truths were standard.
About a controversial man who has caused a lot of chaos in the music industry. His name is Clive Davis, and a lot of you have requested that I take a deep dive into what he's been accused of. Now, Clive Davis is an American record producer and music executive. He's an older man. He was born in the 30s, actually 1932. Clive has had a significant impact on the music industry, having worked with numerous iconic artists and being responsible for signing many landmark musicians. He's won 5 Grammys, he's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so he's been around. In 2013, Clive actually came out as... At this point, he was 80 years old, and he revealed this in his memoir. And there's not a lot of people in 2013 who's just really coming out, and then we've got this 80-year-old guy who's been around a ton of musicians who now announces he's been in a long-term relationship with a man, which I'm all about.
In your book, you reveal that Why did you wait so long, Clive, to make that public?
I was only turning to
after my second marriage failed. When the marriage failed in the mid-'80s, I opened myself up to the possibility that I could have a relationship with a man as well as the two that I had with a woman.
Now, there's a connection between Diddy and Clive. Back when Diddy was young, he was a vodka promoter. He really didn't have much of a career happening, but he wanted to start a record label. When he met Clive, Clive was rather established. So he was 23 and able to convince Clive to take hip hop seriously. And Clive actually funded him and helped Diddy build Bad Boys. It's actually speculated that Diddy and Clive were in a relationship based on how quickly Diddy's record label Bad Boys became successful. This person tweeted that Diddy was given his Bad Boy imprint by Clive Davis, who is openly gay. I mean, he says, but what Diddy had to do for riches is not uncommon for successful black men in entertainment and in politics. All that glitters is not gold. Run your race. Let the next man run his. Interesting. Now, a lot of people believe that Diddy is the way that he is. I mean, we've talked about him in countless videos at this point because of how Clive kind of groomed him to be this way.
My focus right now is Sean Combs.
Okay. Tell us why. Tell us why.
Because he's a trafficker. And he's using music and entertainment to traffic.
Now, is this just boys, girls, adults, kids? I
mean, from what I've heard from sources that I would consider reliable, it really doesn't matter.
Wow.
I don't think something that has anything to do with gender at this point for Sean. I honestly think he's just an extreme narcissist who loves power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loved to control people.
And his mentor was
Andre Harrell.
Tell us how
who was mentored by Clive Davis.
Don't tell me that Andre Harrell got touched by Clive Davis too.
I'm telling you, I don't know what happened between Andre and Clive. What I do know is that Andre got passed over. Like, how do you go from being the president of Uptown and losing your entire company to your intern?
So really what she's saying is that Diddy was Clive's favorite, and that's why he was immediately put onto this pedestal at a young age, really no experience, and now he's running everything. Now, Diddy has honored Clive throughout the years, so they still maintain a decent relationship. In 2019 at the Grammys, he was quoted saying that Clive Davis and Arista Records gave him a chance when he was starting Bad Boy Records. He was one of the first industry executives to really believe in him and Diddy, and he's forever grateful for Clive.
Bad Boy Entertainment. I named it a Bad Boy because I wanted to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the grain, they consider you like kind of bad. Nothing negative, nothing like hardcore. Just, I didn't want to be regular.
So Clive was ultimately impressed by Diddy's vision and decided to fund his project. He immediately took Diddy under his wing and they became the best of friends. And by best friends, I mean there are rumors that in 1994, Clive forced Diddy to do some intimate things to him to be his, mentee.
But he got a boss too, and his boss name is Clive Davis. Clive run him. Diddy don't run himself.
So, of course, all this talk about, Diddy has led to people talking about Clive. I mean, I genuinely believe that when you have been harmed, you typically, or if someone is, they typically work themselves. Like, it's a cycle. Like, it happens to, someone doesn't just, they're not born doing this. It's kind of a learned behavior. It happened to them before. So if Diddy kind of operated in this mentality in this way, you must assume that he learned it from somewhere. But supposedly their relationship...
So, what do you think? Will Usher's bold revelations inspire other celebrities to finally come forward with their own stories about Diddy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're watching. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss the latest updates. Until next time, fam, stay real and stay tuned.